With SGI.
Yeah, he appears to be like part of the subsidiary corporation that SGI runs, kind of the front of SGI, right, to the legal parts, which probably makes him shady just in general, right? But in this instance, I think that obviously they assume he's involved in things that are greater than that. So as you begin to you track him down to it's not the primary SGI company or SGI like headquarter building. It's probably like a much smaller office complex that's a little bit removed from SGI, so it's like a little bit easier to approach and infiltrate and all of that fun stuff. So as you what is your method of approach here?
So what am I seeing when I approach the office?
So when you approach the facility, there appears to be quite a few. It looks a little more blue collar than probably like the primary SGI. It looks like there's a lot of factory workers or like mechanics that are constantly kind of coming in and out. And it appears that everybody uses like the primary entrance into the building. You see intermingled in there, though, however, you see probably clerks and assistants and executives that are also coming in to do the paperwork portion of running a business. But I think that mostly what you see is that the atmosphere appears to be very kind of cordial and light. It's in a part of the city that is probably a little bit more well maintained than the rest of it. So yeah, it appears pleasant. You can see that anyone entering the building has to like get scanned, right? So there's like a not a metal detector, but like a scanner that everyone walks through, just to ensure probably that they don't have anything they're not supposed to have, or and you suspect this probably very easily. It's mostly to make sure that people aren't leaving with stuff they're not supposed to have, right? Because that's usually the bigger danger in a tech corporation, is that somebody leaves with plans to a new prototype and then sells them on the black market, or somebody leaves with like droid parts that they can then retrofit or remanufacture at some other competitor. So it looks like coming in is simply more of a what's the word I'm looking for? More of a action, like just more of a everyday thing. But it looks like going out is the more important, where everything is focused on.
All right,
make sure nobody's leaving with stuff.
Yeah, so Kin won't really consider that going out would be a problem, so he will just try to walk right in.
Okay, yeah. So you just try to walk right in. Sure. Yeah. So as you kind of like walk through the doors, why don't you roll me? I think this is a coordination check. I'm gonna give you a coordination check on this one.
All right.
Just simply to like not do the wrong thing or like not bump into people and cause any kind of scene. Normally, I think it would be stealth, but I think in this instance it's going to be coordination, because you stand out a little bit. You're like 8 feet tall, and walking alone into the building is probably going to be a little bit suspicious. But it's an average check, so whenever you're ready. No problem.
Oh.
So you conduct yourself well. I think that there's probably a moment where like somebody probably compliments you. In fact, like, oh, what a wonderful model. What type is it again?
It's type of none of your business.
Yeah. So probably just like shakes his head and he's like, just trying to admire the mechanical aspect. Just a bunch of parts as it seems, and just like walks off.
Yourself.
Yeah.
But you make it through the scanners and nobody really approaches you, and then you're kind of dumped into like this reception area. You can tell like there's like a large like kind of break area, like courtyard with like a fountain and some like nice indoor plants, and there's a lot of people that are kind of just hanging out and mingling about. But you can tell like there's big signs that say like R&D shop this way, or blueprints upstairs, or office space 1 through 30 to the right. Like there's a whole bunch of different signs that kind of lead you in the various directions through the office complex that you're in now. Because again, it seems to be open to the public. Probably there's certain areas that might be restricted, but at least for you right now, you're good.
So kind of like walking out down to local zoning office or something. It's not really restricted, but it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like walking into a let's say like a shopping mall, right? And instead of like you're able to walk around, but all of the stores are restricted to those specific people that are supposed to be in there. It's kind of more of like what it is, because this is not all this SGI subsidiary, right? There's other like companies that work out of here.
Yeah, and this Wilhelm, he's like the public face of.
Yeah, so he's basically the CEO, right? He's basically the guy in charge. So reasonably, he works in like the upper levels, and probably has like his own floor, I would say, of the complex that you're inside of. And there's like a directory where you can go look up like where each floor and what's on each floor, all that kind of stuff.
All right. So Kim will try to access the floor he's on, and if he's questioned, he will say he's a part of a research project.
Okay, so we see you like leaned over the directory, like looking for what your information, and I think someone probably does approach you because you're just a droid just walking around randomly. And again, anywhere else that might not seem suspicious, but in a Valley where everything is like all droids have a specific purpose, that definitely is like a questionable thing. And I think that there's probably a young woman who comes up, and you can tell she's like coming in for work, and the directory is probably like right in front of one of the grab elevators, right? And so she kind of like looks you up and down, and like she kind of tries to peek around you to look at the directory. And then she probably looks and she says, I'm sorry, do you work here? Can you help me find something?
Sorry. No, I'm on loan. I'm an ancient model. I've been designated as useful research. I've been told to report to Wilhelm.
Oh, okay, sure.
Would you like to look at the screen? I step aside.
Yeah, you step aside, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, thank you." And she kind of like steps up and she looks down and she goes, "Oh, okay, here we go." Well, she turns around. She's like, "Looks like we're going to the same place. Ride the lift together."
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, so like the doors slide open and she gets in and you get in, and then like it's probably like 30 floors up, right? Because these buildings are massive in Star Wars. And so I think that there's just like I wonder if we just see the scene of the two of you in the elevator with like the elevator music playing, just completely not talking to each other, just like dead silent.
Yeah, Kim will alternate between staring right forward and to the side, away from the woman, and then a little bit up.
Yeah, and I think she's just like
right forward again.
She's just like doing the same thing, right? She just like looks forward and like kind of like looks around the elevator, but never like at you, and just like looks at her feet, kind of like fidgets a little bit. Probably a point where like she adjusts her like messenger bag on her shoulder a little bit, and shrugs. We just hear like the elevator music playing the whole time. And finally, probably like right before you get to your destination, she's like, I have an interview today. I hope it will go well. You're not you work here?
Well, I'm more of a consultant, or if you look at it that way, a research item.
Okay. You're very, well, I don't know quite how to say it, but you're very fluent for a droid. Aware, perhaps is the word.
That's the reason I'm here. What is your intended purpose here?
Well, I just graduated and in mechanics. Well, that's the base term for it. Really, I work specifically with protocol designs. That's kind of why I asked, because it seems like maybe we'll be working together soon. It'd be nice to know someone at least, even if you are the subject matter.
That would be agreeable. What is your designation?
My name is Amelia.
I am K1NN.
Very well,
You may
K1NN.
call me Kin.
Very well, Kin. I hope that perhaps we will work together soon. And like as she says it, like the doors open and she kind of like steals herself and like steps out of the elevator.
I will follow her.
Yeah, like onto the floor, and she kind of like goes one way off towards like there's probably a sign that says like interviewees this way, right? And she kind of turns and goes that way, and you're kind of left to explore the rest of the floor.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're looking for the CEO's office, it's probably pretty easy to find. There's a big like designated area for like important people's offices, like off in the far corner of the building. And it's the typical office space area where you yourself, you're tall enough that you can see over like all of the cubicles, right? There's just like hundreds of cubicles in this particular office building. And then like dotted are like some different areas, like maybe there's a small break room somewhere, and then maybe there's like a small lounge area somewhere, and then maybe there's like like a mechanical area somewhere where there's like a whole bunch of like computers or view screens or whatever the hollow things are. But yeah, it's like a typical modern day office park essentially.
All right.
So yeah, you can head over to
so-
the CEO's area.
Yeah, I'll head over there and I will see if there's are there any cubicles that I can just stand in, which are free or unoccupied.
Yeah, I think there's definitely unoccupied cubicles around.
Yeah, so Kim will walk over to one of the unoccupied cubicles and just stand perfectly still.
Perfect. Okay. I think that why don't you roll me a stealth check?
Alright.
It's gonna be an average check, basically just to like go unnoticed in this scenario.
I'm gonna flip a destiny point because I don't have any.
Seems like a good idea. I'll add an upgrade to your side for you. Go for it whenever you're ready. Okay. I've got something for this if you want.
Okay, so I'm guessing the guy who owns the cubicle comes by.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You are 100% noticed, but you're 100% noticed by Wilhelm coming in for work. And
All right, yeah.
as he turns the corner, he just sees you, and his eyebrows kind of raise, and he goes, "You are an interesting model."
Yes, that's why I'm here.
Interesting. What do you call yourself?
I am designated K1NN.
Who is your manufacturer?
That is, well, that's a long story. I am of very little time.
Interesting. Gladys. And you see him like call, and you see a receptionist kind of like poke her head out. He goes, "Do you know about this thing?" She like kind of looks at Kid and just like shakes her head. He goes, "What are you here for?"
I am here for a diagnostic. I've been told I have an interest sign might be.
Yes. It seems that you have not had a memory wipe in quite some time.
That is perhaps one of the things interesting.
Very well. Wait here. And he kind of like, you see, he's still got like his bag on and like his coat from outside, and he walks over, and the whole time he walks over, he kind of like hangs his coat up and like looks over at you, and then like he gets like his messages from his assistant, and like the whole time he kind of like looks at you and just like, he doesn't, suspicion is not the word I would use, but like confusion. He definitely seems like a man who kind of knows what's going on all the time, and for him not to have any idea why you're here or what you're doing seems curious to him. But obviously there's things that happen that he doesn't know about all the time, so I'm sure it'll be fine.
Training, you can say.
So as you're waiting there for more instruction from Wilhelm, I want to go back to Mouse briefly, because Mouse is going to try a heist real quick.
Yeah.
No big deal.
No big deal. NBD.
So what are you going to like cause the truck or car or whatever to have some sort of mechanical failure?
Well, the thing is that I would need to get to the truck or the car beforehand.
Sure.
Which means that the car would be inside, and that would defeat the purpose. To sneak inside and then never mind. There's got to be like a gate or something around, like not necessarily that security gate, but like actually, could I mess with the droid?
Yeah, you absolutely could.
Like to make it stop the car.
Like make it halt it before it leaves. Yeah, totally. Okay, so how would you like approach that situation? Like, because again,
mess with the droid though. That's the thing.
It's Star Wars, so you probably have to like be in contact with it, right? Wi-Fi isn't really a thing.
I don't think I want to contact. I don't want to like be in physical contact with the droid. So I think there's got to be like a gate or something around the area, like that would serve the purposes, or maybe like there's a machine that I could like rig to like put out a pulse of some kind.
Like an EM pulse?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely think you can find something in the area. I think the only danger of that is that it might also alert other things to happen.
Like I want to make it look like an accident.
Sure. So there's probably like just a variety of like electrical conduits all over the place, right? It's Star Wars, so they're probably just like running through the streets.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could probably mechanic one of those to kind of like short circuit and explode, or cause some sort of disruption that might cause the droid to malfunction, or might cause like some sort of maybe causes some sort of lockdown procedure, right? Where the droid doesn't allow vehicles to leave, and you would have an opportunity to kind of like sneak in there and grab something.
Yeah, I'm mostly doing it to the car, I guess, or the speeder.
Right.
I guess I would like the speeder to shut down.
Okay.
Because I'm on board with this idea of stealing the sticker.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that this is going to require a couple of checks here. One is, I think, going to be a stealth check, just to generally avoid like detection when you're like messing with stuff on the on the ground and around.
So could I argue for a blue dice on that one, because I do have on like basically like mechanics clothing, like I have a jumpsuit and stuff like that.
I like that. I can give you a blue dice for that.
So,
I think that's fair.
Because I do have the pit crew overalls that I wear constantly, so I look like someone that would be messing with mechanics in the area.
Like a junction box or something, like on the wall next to the booth or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Totally. It's gonna be an average check, so go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay. That's the stealth check, right?
Yeah. This is just to blend in to make sure like there's no questions.
Sure thing.
No problem. You can also reduce a strain if you'd like.
Hell yeah, I'll reduce that strain.
So, or you can use a blue dice on your next one.
Actually, I'll take the blue dice on the next one. I'm not that strained yet,
yeah, because the next one is actually to rig this, right? To actually like make it so that this does what you want and does it on time. And so because of that, I'm actually going to make it a hard check. and I'm using a dark side point because
Okay. Well,
there's
I'm using a light side point, so yeah.
yeah, because there's definitely a chance for like this literally to blow up in your face.
Right.
So yeah, whenever you're ready, it's a hard check, 1 upgrade on both sides, and a blue dice for you.
Sure thing. But you take that.
All right, no problem.
In your face.
I don't know. That's a
No
pretty
problem.
shitty roll for mouse. There
Oh,
was
I didn't mean
no
like computer.
triumph.
It's true.
I only want
It's supposed to be
advantage, I
mechanics,
don't
but
know.
it's the same roll.
Oh, it's the same roll.
It's the same-
Okay, all right.
It's the same. Excuse me. It's the same.
Okay, no
skill
problem.
rank.
No problem.
So, sorry
Yeah,
about that.
so you rig this up and you make it so that like there's probably like a grate or something that runs like underneath to like, you know, check the weight or whatever of vehicles coming out, or to drain water when it rains or something like that. And so you probably rig it so that like when a vehicle drives over it, it causes the reaction in the junction box next to the shack.
Mhm.
So once you do it, you carefully close up the junction box and you go basically hide around the corner, right? And wait for the next vehicle to come out. So let's see here. What type of vehicle is it going to be? I think that I'm just going to roll a d20. Okay. So the vehicle that's coming out is going to be a. You see that there is a kind of like a sports speeder, right? It's clearly not designed for comfort. And you can see that there's a man and a woman inside, and the man is like, he's a bro, all right. Like if you've ever known a bro before, he's
I
a
live
bro.
in California, so
True. You do live in California. There you go. He's literally everyone you've ever met.
every single person
I'm kidding.
in
Of course.
California.
But that is a funny joke. He's basically a bro, and you can see that the woman who's sitting next to him is she's kind of like flippant a little bit. She seems to be just kind of blasé about life. And as the speeder, like, you know, he scans to get out, the gate arm like raises up. You hear the droid say like "have a nice day" in like a very mechanical voice. And as the speeder goes out, all of a sudden just as like just sparks fly all over because it's an open air speeder, so it's like literally all over the man and woman. And like she screams and like she's trying to like put out her hair because it's on fire now. The guy like gets out and like he probably like grabs the droid and he's like, "What did you do?" Right? He's like shaking it and the droid's like rattling in its case. And the vehicle kind of like the grab vehicle kind of like tilts down because it's like some of its electrical wiring is like fried on the side. So you have an opportunity to like do basically whatever you want in this instance. In fact, you probably could just walk by them at this point because it seems like there's like,
you know what I could do? All right, so I basically show up and I'm like, "Oh, looks like your speeder is having some problems there. I'm actually a mechanic. I can help out with that. Why don't I take a look at that for you?"
yeah, and the guy is probably like, he probably looks at the droid and he says, "You're lucky that she showed up when she did, droid." And he's probably like, "Well, what are you waiting for?" And he like,
yeah.
he probably like walks over and like is like kind of like looking over your shoulder, like pretending like you're gonna damage his vehicle or something.
So I guess like if he's doing that, I want to like kind of be like, "Hey, shouldn't you check on your lady friend over there? She kind of was on fire a little bit."
Yeah, and probably at that time she like screams again. He's like, ugh, and he like walks over there.
And on fire.
So then I will fix the vehicle, but I also want to swipe the sticker.
Absolutely. I think you have free reign to do both of those things. I'm not even gonna make you roll for it.
Yeah.
Because you have free reign to like just do whatever, and then you also like pull the sticker out of the window, so now you could just basically get scanned in. And eventually he gets in and he like spits at the droid and like drives off in a huff. So now you can basically just go up and like scan it and like, "Here I am," boop, and then the gate arm will just rise up and let you in.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just scan in and go in.
Okay, excellent. So that brings us over to so as you're gonna go figure out where she lives, which will take some research. But I do want to talk to Dash because we haven't talked to Dash in quite some time. So Dash, I assume being the last one left, you want to go talk with or
Shadow
figure
Monica.
out information about this Monica lady.
Yep.
Yeah. So with the information that that Zian gave you, you use that? Do you go to like that cafe and see if there's? Because remember, Zian found out that like there's this cafe or this cantina that they visited frequently, frequently enough to like have a picture taken.
Sure.
Okay. So you head over to that general area. It's also you also realize too that it's a pretty good place to like set up for observing the building because it's not right across the street. It's kind of down the street a little bit, but you can like get a table that kind of looks right at the entrance and be able to kind of observe all of what's going on. So as you do that, why don't you go ahead and make me a perception check? And I'm gonna make it just an average check. Whenever you're ready.
Could you please add one blue dice because I have heightened senses?
Sure.
Thank you. I'm using the force full throttle now.
Right.
Wait, that was the yeah. Each perception check I make blues. Yeah, I wasn't wrong about that. No, like coincidentals or like freaking like specifics. Hey.
Okay. So your strain here is like you're handed a menu as you're at this cafe, right? And you see the prices, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is going to be expensive," and I have to order something, or it'll be suspicious. That's your strain that you take.
I got a few credits I can like.
Yeah. So
part with.
Your perception, however, does get you some reconnaissance, essentially. So you know who you're looking for, and I think that as you're kind of like observing the building, you eventually see Monica depart, and she comes walking down the street like towards where you're at. You see her actually enter the cafe, and she sits at a table that's like a couple of tables down from you, and she appears to be like having lunch by herself. You can see that she like has some like hollow news that she's kind of swiping through, and she's eating. She probably has noodles of some sort that she's just kind of like slurping on. Yeah, and she's just kind of like there. Do you do anything at that moment, or do you just continue to observe her?
I continue to observe.
Yeah, so during this period of time, nothing really suspicious like happens while you're sitting there. She seems to simply just come in, she gets her food, she eats. However, all the serving staff seem to know her very well. In fact, I think the first thing you notice is she didn't get seated like you did. She just walked over to her table, and the server didn't come up to her and ask her for her order. It was just brought to her table. Like they knew about what she wanted before she even got there. So this seems to be a regular thing for her. She's very clearly a regular here. So with that being said, there's probably a lot of information here about her. So it depends on how you want to approach it. Now, we're trying to figure out how she like influences things. So I also, in addition to your perception check, I also want you to roll me a stealth check. Because you need to be inconspicuous while you do this. Because obviously, if somebody's like watching you and staring at you, you may pick up on it depending on who you are. So I'm going to make it a hard check, and I'm also going to add a black dice because environmentally, she's in her element and you're not.
The guy with the leather jacket and like armor-looking clothing, and she's just like someone staring at her specific. And maybe
right.
The thing is, he could possibly play it off as kind of like a interest in appearance. He could be like,
sure, yeah,
I guess I like you or something. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Maybe
the thing
I'll
you can
play
do.
like I don't know, or
Yes, I
possibly.
know.
We'll see if you get
out.
caught looking first, and then we'll determine from there. Oh yeah, yeah. You get caught looking. So I think there's like a moment where like her eyes just kind of move up, and she looks at you, and she kind of like she does the thing where she's like, "Oh, you're looking at me." She smiles, and then goes back to her meal, but every now and then she kind of like flits her eyes up to see if you're still kind of observing her. So
I mean, their eyes meet a few times, maybe. Can I possibly roll a charisma check to pretty much just like put on a possible? Could charisma be so
so
like?
it's presence in this game.
Could
so
presence be conveyed through expression?
yeah. So this is you want to charm her, right? Is that
Yes?
yeah? That sounds like exactly what you want to do. So she is not a person that is easily charmed. Her discipline is pretty high. But I will let you try I'll let you try anything once.
Okay. I'm ready.
Yeah, roll that charm check. Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Charmer.
All right. So take some strain because you're like, oh shit, I got made, right? But you succeed. So I think that you give her the winning smile. And she kind of like smiles back and like she takes note. She's like, she's probably like, he's young, but he's cute. And she just kind of continues to eat her meal. And I think that like, maybe you like, maybe it's time that I go now that I've been made. Maybe I should get out of here while the getting's good. And
yeah.
She leaves as well, and you go to pay your bill, and the server says it's already been taken care of.
He gives her. He immediately
gives her
takes a
finger
glance
gun.
towards. What?
Yeah,
joking.
she's probably
I'm
like
sorry.
walking back now. She's probably like walking back as this happens. So her back is to you.
So yeah, his eyes are pretty much just like moved to her direction, and he kind of like says, nods and says thank you as he exits.
Yeah, and the server before you leave says an additional thing though. The server goes, oh, and just so you're aware, Miss Okula wanted me to give you this, and hands you like a slip of paper, and as you open it up, it's got a contact number on it.
Oh my god, I got her number! Or am I taking this wrong? I'm guessing that's the equivalent of getting someone's number.
Yep, that's exactly what
it
it is.
I got someone's number.
Listen, look how hard she is to charm. You did it. It's impressive to her.
Oh, this is a personal victory. Didn't expect this to happen. But no, actually, I did try that, so technically I kind of expected this to happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is actually what you were going for, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just kind of indirectly.
Yeah,
your cover story became a reality.
I swear, if in the end I actually form a relationship with her and I'm torn between her, my friends, and a contract, I will be very pressured. Hell, even the force might be even more of a weight on me if that happens. Mm-hmm. Imagine that.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, enough about my sex life. Sorry.
Yeah, so I think that Dash, you realize that like it would probably be inappropriate to just like contact her right now.
Yeah, that's what he thought.
But you have an incredible lead, right? Like maybe you can set up a dinner and then like go meet with her, and maybe be able to get some more information, more personal and directly than all of the other group. Which, speaking of, let's get back to Jax. So, Jax, you wanted to conduct some sort of a heist, right? You wanted to try and break into the
so I'm
DDF headquarters.
His office is in DDF headquarters.
Yeah.
So Jax is probably not equipped to do that on his own. He would maybe give it a go depending on what he sees, but that's why he was seeing if Mouse was available. So that's why he would have calmed Mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah, I forgot to we forgot to converse.
So,
back.
oh no. So I think this is the reason why I did this is because I think it's perfect that Mouse, as you're infiltrating this, you're inside of this apartment complex now, and you're like riding up the elevator. Jax is like, "Hey, can you help me break in somewhere?"
I mean, I already just broke into someplace else.
Oh my god. Jax is like, well, I know I contacted the right person. You gonna be a while, do you think?
Well, I kind of have to find my Paola, so it's gonna take a bit, but I have an idea on how to find her, so...
Alright, well, I'll do some reconnaissance and see what I can find, and I might wait to see if you're free later. But if I see an opening, I might take it.
Okay. Be careful.
You too. Peace out, homie.
Love you. Bye.
Peace out, home dog.
So, yeah. What's your plan here? Is it just to wait for Mouse's stuff to be done?
No. So I think Jax is not without talents. They're just not mechanical or computer related. So he is going to Ooh. Alright, so I wanna basically do a reconnaissance of the building and see. Could I just walk in first?
You wanna identify weak points? Is that you wanna?
I wanna identify weak points. I basically wanna push the limit on doing as much research as I can without actually bringing untoward attention to myself.
Yeah, so obviously there's a public area of the DDF headquarters, right? Where because you can walk in and report crimes or walk in and turn yourself in. There's obviously a receptionist area, but there is probably a lot of the building that's not accessible to the public. Obviously the easiest way to get into any building in Star Wars is to literally fly a grav, a speeder outside the window and just jump in. That's obviously the easiest way. In fact, buildings in Star Wars are very assailable almost at all points in time, as we've seen by Mouse.
Yeah.
So,
for example, if I could figure out...
If you could figure out, where his office is specifically,
yeah, that
would be, good information that you could then act on.
Exactly. So, I don't know if maybe that's something I could glean by going in there.
Yeah, so, it's something that you could, go in and maybe try and ask someone, right? You can maybe ask the duty sergeant.
At first, what I would do is I think Jax wouldn't. Just in general, Jax wouldn't want to go in somewhere and be like, "Hi, I'm here to find out this information."
Right.
He likes to keep his thing. So he'd be more likely to go in there under the guise of maybe saying, "Oh, I saw mugging down the street. What should I do?" And seeing if maybe he sees a name plaque on a door or a duty roster or something that can give him any information.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, cool. So I think that you enter in, and it's kind of your atypical Star Wars police station, right? There's probably someone behind the desk that's in uniform that's obviously taking down information.
Sorry, okay. Actually, you keep going. I'll interrupt if I need to.
Okay. That's taking down information and probably filing paperwork. They're obviously the on-duty personnel. And as you approach, the woman probably stands up and she probably addresses you and she says, "Yes, how can I help you?"
I need to speak to someone. I think I have information about a potential drug den.
Ah, yes, very well.
That's always a good thing.
Here, fill this out. I'll contact somebody from the DSF. They'll be down shortly to speak with you.
I'd rather not put anything down on paper just yet. I don't want to expose myself.
She probably just looks at you, kind of blank stares, and goes, "Fill it out or not, doesn't matter to me. I'll be down in a moment." And you see she types into a console, and like obviously like sends a message that there's somebody needs to talk to, a member of the DSF, that's down in the lobby. So a few minutes pass, and probably like a kind of big, tall, brutish looking man comes down, and he's got kind of like scruff on his face that hasn't been shaved in maybe a day or two, and he comes down and kind of like looks around. And he walks up to the receptionist, and she kind of like just points at you, Jax. And it kind of walks up, and as you stand to greet him, he holds out like his big, giant, like, hand, and he goes to shake it. And he goes, "Most people call me Gruff. What can I do for you?" So there's something about some drug deals.
Hi, Gruff. Yeah. I'm new to town, but I have been observing a lot of things in my area recently that have me concerned. The reason I left my old home is because there was a lot of drug-related activity, and I don't want to see the same thing happen again.
Yes, well, that's a very sad story. Come on, we'll go talk in my office. And he just kind of like leads you up the stairs.
Okay.
So you get up to a floor where you can see that there is very clearly like, this is Jax. I don't know if you ever like envisioned what it would look like if you ever got busted while you were working for Arcanus. But this is it right here. Like you probably see like there's probably some people that are like categorizing some spice that was taken off the streets, right? They have like vials. They're like labeling it as evidence and like recording it down, signing it in.
Arcanus spice would be marked with some kind of seal, correct?
Usually it's the cap, right? That's what we talked about before. It's usually the cap is different.
On a cursory glance, can I tell if any of that is Arcanus spice?
I
don't want to put too much.
Sure, yeah. Let's yeah, it's gonna be a hard check because it's like they're tiny little vials and you're not directly next to them. But yeah, roll perception.
Nah, I don't want to put. Nah, if it was nah.
So as you're kind of led, you can see there's like interrogation rooms. In fact, I think you can hear like somebody crying behind one of the doors of the interrogation rooms, as you walk by it. And you go and you sit up like at this guy's desk, this guy Gruff, his desk. And you see that his like little nameplate on his desk says Sergeant Gruff McCoy, right? That's his whole name. And as you sit down, he kind of like plops down into his chair that kind of creaks under the weight of this huge giant of a man. And like he begins typing on the computer, but like very like chicken pecking a little bit.
This is where Mouse would get like super impatient.
Yeah, well, so this is like in the bullpen, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. And you're on the floor where the DSF operates.
Yeah,
specifically.
So Jax would whisper to like lean into the guy and trying to look kind of scared. Like, is there anywhere more private where we could talk? I don't want to be seen. I saw what happened to informants in my old home.
Yeah, he's like, and then he stops and he just kind of like looks at you and he's like, "Fine, we'll use one of the interrogation rooms." And he kind of like stands up and chair creaks as his weight recedes from it. He goes over, he opens like interrogation room 3. He just like opens it up and like directs you to go in. So as you do, he says, "I'll be with you in a moment." And like the door slams. Jax, you probably have flashbacks of like when you've been in interrogation rooms before.
Yeah.
And as he comes back, he's got basically a data pad, right, where he can like type in information. And so he comes up and he sits down again in the chair that's not even his own, creaks under his weight, and he's like, "All right, tell me in as much detail as possible what you saw."
And using his like general knowledge of the drug trade, and he'd pick a random area of town where where Jax knows there's probably some kind of like, it would be unsurprising if it'd be surprising if there was no drug dealing going on there. And he just like tells a story that's like very, very basic. Like,
Okay.
doesn't have much information there. Just
Yeah.
trying to kind of, but also coming across as very, very nervous.
Yeah. So this sounds like a deception check, right? You're trying to deceive him into believing your story. I think it's average because he probably hears 100 of these stories a day. But I am going to upgrade it for free because there's a chance you get something wrong and he picks up on it, right?
I want to argue for a boost dice because Jax's knowledge of like how drug deals go down, he would know.
Okay.
Like,
I'll add a boost dice. Yeah, I'll add a boost dice. Sure.
Cool.
You've already got your upgrade to peg you. So.
You ready?
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So.
Oh wow.
So he writes it all down. He just nods his head the whole time, and he says, "Yeah, it's about the third report we've gotten this week. We'll have to track it down a little bit. Well, I really appreciate your help with this. Is there a way we can contact you in case anything goes to litigation?"
I would really love a chance just to talk to some kind of superior officer, or I just really want to, get everything on the record. I'm looking for a fresh start.
Yeah, and he kind of like, his eyes narrow a little bit, but he like looks at the time and he says, "Afraid there's not anybody here at these hours, but I can leave a message. I'm gonna leave your contact information. Somebody will get back in touch with you."
Okay, so I'll leave my contact information, and can I ask? No, that's too weird. Ask if
I know I just reported this drug deal, but can you give me a tour as well? This is really cool. All this is going on.
No, I was thinking more along the lines of like, I want to thank you. I want to put like, can I write a note to commending you that I can just put under your superior officer's door or something, like you've really put me at ease, something along those lines. But
yeah.
I don't know. I think that's strange.
If you were to ask that, he'd probably tell you that like there's some online service that you can go submit feedback.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, I'll just head out with him, and I'm gonna hope that I can kind of get a sense of where, like, maybe I see Amaranto's name on a door or something like that.
Yeah. So why don't you roll me? Why don't we make this your perception check for the inside of here, trying to identify where the head honchos sit, right?
Alright.
So it's gonna be hard because you're just kind of like walking through, and you don't.
Yeah.
You wanna try and be under the radar with it. But that's it. Just a hard perception check. Haha! Wow.
What? But dude, this what? How? How does that work?
Triumph fail.
So, you don't know where his office is, but you can have something of great significance occur in this immediate moment.
He's walking past, calling his friends and telling about, "Oh, you remember those things we did that were bad?"
No,
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more. So tell me if this is too much, but I'm thinking with a double triumph I can pull this off.
Yeah, double triumph. Basically, do you want the Death Star to appear? Because
no, what I'm hoping is they get a call that some shit is going down somewhere. Maybe like one of their officers is under fire or something, and they all just bolt out. Like they're like, "You got to get out of here," but they all just run out.
yeah, totally. That's 100% what happens.
Sweet.
So here's how it goes down. He opens up the interrogation room and he's like, "I'll show you out." And then all of a sudden there's like you hear like a dull alarm go off. And you see like the red lights come on inside the bullpen area, right? And everybody kind of looks and you see like a holo display and you see like some images come up and everybody just starts like freaking out, like running around, going crazy. And he says, just wait right here, I'll be right back with you. And he like goes to close the door, but it doesn't close all the way. You're able to like slide your hand in, so you can kind of have free access. And it's just
of how I
chaos.
Because of how I want Jax to progress. Instead of me sliding my hand, imagine like I still say it, I use my grapple launcher just to shoot the grapple like right in between the bottom of the door to keep it open.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just weird little flavor, but
absolutely, no, absolutely. So you just keep it open, and he doesn't notice. He runs out. And honestly, that's one triumph. I think that the other one in this scenario is, you maybe like you go and like peek out, right?
Yeah, I want every cop in that vicinity, like everyone in that anti-drug team, to be responding to this call.
Well, yeah, so here's what happens though. You get a piece of the puzzle, right? As you like peek out, you see that there is a couple of DDF people who are dragging, one holding each arm of this. It's probably a Deveronian male. And the Deveronian male is just beat to shit. Like, his clothes are ripped, his face is all like imploded in, and they just like drag him into the interrogation room next to you. You see them throw him in, close the door, lock it, and then run out to the call. That's the secondary triumph you get. So there are probably still like, it's not that everybody will like leave, because they won't just leave people in here, but everybody's so crazy right now that you could do whatever you wanted and not even be suspicious in this moment.
Okay, so
like you could go find the office and get into it if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's the first thing I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go find and enter the guy's office.
Yeah, so I think that as you begin like kind of walking around, you're doing that thing where like you're trying to stay low so that nobody really notices you, and you walk up like a small set of stairs that lead up to like an area that looks over the bullpen, and you see that there's some offices, and you kind of look and look and look, and you see Amarantos is there, and his door is actually cracked open. So you can just waltz inside, and just like close the door behind you. It's dark in his office, and you can see that he's got like frosted glass windows where it's clearly one way where he can look out over the bullpen area, but they can't look in.
Okay, cool.
So
does he have any windows to the outside?
No, it's actually enclosed in this area.
Okay, cool. So I want to do a search around his office and see if there's files, a data pad, something that could lead me to think why he was there an extra hour today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that as you're looking for that, I do want to jump back to Zian real quick, because your job's not done here.
And actually, as this happens, I would calm Zian to be like, I'm in Amaranto's office.
Okay. So while all of that is going on, Zian, you've been doing your research. Obviously, the research takes a while. You found a bunch of information on a bunch of different people. But I think that this triumph is going to affect you as well. Okay. Because I think that what happens is, suddenly you hear the sounds of like sirens from outside. And you're kind of sitting there like looking around, and why can't I remember her name ever?
Unan?
Yeah, Unan is she kind of like looks, she's like, what's going on outside?
I figure probably get up and go out to take
a
look.
You get up and you open up the front door to the archives, and you see that in the building across the street there appears to be probably like 50 like DDF vehicles that have surrounded the building and are like shining all these spotlights like in on it, and you have like a perfect view, a front row seat of what's going on. And I think that say that again.
What's the building?
So the building across from the archives is probably like an older let's see, it's probably an older like apartments. You're probably in the because the archives are not terribly rich, right? You're probably in a lower class area. So it's probably like older apartment complex. And you see that the building is like being surrounded. You see like there's teams that are like flying in and out, and there's all of this like all these spotlights that are kind of shining on the building itself. And as you observe, why don't you roll me one last perception check?
Okay.
It's gonna be average, and based on your number of possible successes here, you'll get more and more information.
Okay, let's give this a go.
Yeah. Cool.
Just one.
So, as you're observing through the windows of this old apartment complex, you occasionally see flashes of red and blue light, and it's not coming from like the sirens and stuff, and you can identify it very clearly as blaster fire from inside the apartment complexes. It is very clearly whatever they all left from that area was, and whatever set them all off on this task, right? And
I'll like kind of calm everyone and kind of mention what's going on as like I'm running out and trying to see.
Yeah, you're running up to like the behind like all the police vehicles and stuff like that. So as you're doing that, you see that there are some like higher ranking individuals from the DDF like showing up now, and they're kind of setting up like a command post almost. And all of a sudden there's a commotion, and everybody like points up into the sky a little bit, and you all look, and you look up, and you see that there is a it's of course, because why wouldn't it be, there's a YT-1300 freighter that comes in and like careens in and kind of like does the hover thing over the top of the complex and like lands. And everybody's confused. There's a ton of confusion going on, and you see from your vantage point, because you're a little like you're up steps a little bit, you can see like the roof a little bit, and you see there's people that like run out onto the roof, and like you see that there's somebody like carrying somebody else, and they like toss people into the YT-1300. The ramp comes up, you see blaster fire begin aiming in the direction of that, and then the YT-1300 rises up and just turns and takes off with the blaster fire like chasing it through the sky.
Okay. Does the YT-1300 look like it is being used by the DDF or whatever they're
very very clearly not, because all the DDF
Okay.
people begin to like shoot at it as they fly away.
Let me check one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to try something.
Okay.
I don't know if it's gonna work, so we'll see what kind of roll this gets.
Okay. Holy shit.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Or can't you?
I don't think I have enough. Because
I think you need. I think
YT...
it's because you need the dice to do it, and then +1 for each silhouette higher, right?
Yeah. Well, so every pip I want to use, I can increase the silhouette by 2. So
okay.
I could do that, but I also need another pip in order to increase the range in order to hold it.
Yeah, because you're not in short range of it. You're probably in like long range, actually, if we're being fair.
Well,
yeah,
like,
from
rip
it
off
right
the
now.
engine or something.
If there's any, I mean, I could grab a very small thing that's much farther away, but that's about all I can do. So,
okay.
I'll probably, what it looks like is me kind of reaching out, kind of the standard force lifting, and just like struggling and just kind of concentrating very intently for a short amount of time, and then just nope, can't.
Yeah. And I think that the scene is like you strain and struggle to like reach out, and like you start dipping into, like, you realize that you're dipping into like powers that you don't want to, and so you kind of pull back a little bit. And I think that Unan like kind of like is like grabbing you by like your arm, is like, no, like, come inside, it's too dangerous, right? She's like trying to drag you back inside. And I think that you see speeders like begin to take off, rise, and fly like in that direction, like trying to track the ship, right? And I think that it's probably appropriate that Dash, as you're like walking back from the cantina, you see YT-1300 just like flies over you, and then you hear sirens in the distance, and you see other ships begin to like fly that direction. Mouse, as you're kind of like, you're on the floor like looking for the right apartment, right? Mm-hmm. You see the YT-1300 like fly right by you as well, and then people in pursuit of it. And I think that every single person, Kin, you're inside the CEO's office at this time, right? Like, you've been instructed to go stand in the corner until he can find a way to deal with you. And as he's kind of like sitting there, he kind of like stumbles backward as like the YT-1300 like flies by, and you track it with your eyes, right? And you see all the DDF personnel going after it. And everybody kind of witnesses this from a different perspective.
But I don't, because I have no windows.
Well, your perspective was you saw the cops run out.
Okay.
Because something's going on. But with that in mind, that's probably a great place to stop for the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's 6. It's 6 p.m. My time. All your times are different. But it was a tremendous pleasure, and we have a lot to do next week. Lots of meetings to set up and all kinds of fun stuff. So
I need to extract myself from a police station at some point.
You do need to extract yourself from the police station.
I also need to finish getting info.
Dash has to get ready for a date. Mouse has to figure out how to break into an apartment, probably. Kin has to to be fair, Kin is probably in the most danger, if we're being like completely honest, because like you're stuck with your alibi right now, Kin. Like, you can't just like walk out at this point. So we'll probably focus.
Jump out a window.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Jump out the window and run.
Well, no, just have Dash fly the ship up there and just jump out the window and land on the ship, just like a badass.
Why not?
Yeah. Seems great to me. And maybe we'll find out what's going on with this YT-1300 significant event, since you rolled 2 triumphs.
Yeah.
So, experience. It's been a couple weeks. I think everybody deserves 15 experience for their amazing role playing today.
Ooh.
Yay, 15.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think that is... Oh, before I forget, because I never want to forget this. Everybody raise your thresholds back to their normal level. So Jax go up by 2, everybody else go up by 1. Your strain thresholds. So, and we'll see if any other obligation triggers next week and does the other thing. Although, however, keep your current strain, because we are still like involved in the same adventure.
Yep.
Just FYI. So that being said, thank you all for being here. I'm going to do the outro.
Morality or?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, morality. Both of you should be pretty good today, I would say. Wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for bad.
Yeah.
So I think you only have 2 conflict, Dash.
Yep.
So if you want to roll a d10 minus 2, and Zian, I don't think you have any.
I'd at least give myself 1 for attempting to.
Sure.
If he would have been able to, he would have tapped into the dark side.
Okay. That's fair.
Also just, it doesn't feel right to roll if you don't have any conflict at all.
That's true.
Kind of how I feel.
That's true. I agree with that as well. Okay. So you go up by 5, Dash. So you're getting back to normal.
And last question, because I.
Fair.
Okay.
Fair.
Alright. Why not?
didn't do anything particularly bad or good this session, so
Yep.
I think it's totally fair.
Makes sense.
A question because
Yeah.
my is lapsing. What did Monica Okula look like?
So she
Race
is
appearance and all.
She hot?
Ugly.
she's a
She's so
middle-aged
ugly woman.
no,
I mean,
she's
look at
probably
her.
she's probably got a
With
few
a
she's probably got
eyebrow.
a few gray hairs, but not many. Also, yeah, I forgot that Dash didn't have any eyebrows, so that makes it even funnier. She's probably got a few gray hairs, but she's very nicely put together. She makes herself look good.
But race though.
Oh,
human
she's
or...
oh yeah, I'm sorry, she is a human. Yeah, she is a
Gosh,
human.
Why
She's a
are you
local.
so racist?
Yeah, super racist.
What do you mean? I
Like
don't
you're
know.
asking what race she is.
What do you mean?
Hey,
Well,
you know what?
Hey,
Here's what I always say: it's better to ask and know than to say the wrong thing and find out, right?
Love transcends all species and gender.
Excuse me.
I'm actually sure that's not physically possible in Star Wars, to be perfectly fair. But yes, I
I
understand.
mean, it wasn't physically possible in Mass Effect or Star Trek either, but
Oh.
Well, I
You
mean,
work
it's just there's a difference between painful and possible, right? Like there's differences there.
I mean, Tali pretty much kills herself to bang. So.
That's
Oh.
true.
And
I
aren't
laughed
Asari,
loud- I
don't
laughed loud
Asari
enough to
technically
wake up
not
Zero.
look like what they look like to us? Don't
also
they just
painful
look like
can
a...
be pleasurable.
If
and,
you're into that.
and on that note, I'm gonna go do outro. So y'all have a good day.
Bye.
We'll talk to you next week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Huh. Wonder how long that's been like that. Forever, probably. Whoopsies. Oh well. Thank you all for being here. It's been a wonderful, wonderful day. I'd like to thank everybody for your support today. It's been a good time. Other than that, we're gonna go ahead and sign off. I hope you all had a wonderful time. This concludes episode 13 of Fractured Orders, and thank you all for being here. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.